year. It was her team and his team, and it was a bit combative. You know, his team, her father's, says one thing, that things are good, and her team pushes back saying that's not how she feels. But we haven't yet heard from Britney Jean Spears, and people are on pins and needles waiting to see what she does in fact say later today. When I was in court earlier this year,
in an explosive court hearing Wednesday, passionately telling a court she's been exploited, embarrassed, and demoralized by the people behind the conservatorship that's controlled her life and finances for the last 13 years, asking that it be terminated. The 39-year-old pleading with a judge, saying, "I just want my life back." Spears addressing the court for more than 20 minutes, calling the court-ordered conservatorship, which is controlled in part by her father, Jamie Spears, abusive. The megastar saying she was accused of not participating in rehearsals for a Vegas show after disagreeing about a dance move, and accused of not taking medicine that she maintained she'd been regularly taking for years.
I'm not happy. I can't sleep. I'm so angry, it's insane, and I'm depressed. I cry every day, and the reason I'm telling you this is because I don't think how the state of California can have all this written in the court documents from the time I showed up and do absolutely nothing, just hire it with my money.
I cried on the phone for an hour, and he loved every minute of it. The control he had over someone as powerful as me, he loved the control to hurt his own daughter. Spears comparing her experiences to sex trafficking, making anyone work against their will, taking all their possessions away, credit card, cash, phone, passport, and placing them in a home where they work with the people who live with them. She says she's not allowed to ride in a car driven by her boyfriend, or make her own decisions about birth control, marriage, or having more children.
Most veterans think getting
Hello everyone, welcome to this special edition of Viral. Let's talk about pop singer Britney Spears. Yes, Britney Spears wants to break the ice. Britney Spears wants to break her silence after she appeared via remote Skype when no cameras were seen to want to end her conservatorship. Yes, Britney Spears has been in a 13-year-long conservatorship over her mental health and her abilities, and now she wants to break free and live her life and be able to make her own decisions, make her own choices, and what she wants to do and accomplish. But first thing first, join in the conversation using the hashtag Viral here on Connect. And don't forget to subscribe. Subscribe is king. Tell a friend, call a friend, hit that subscribe button so you won't miss things. We talk about Britney Spears, the Free Britney movement. Britney Spears wants to break the ice and breaks her silence on wanting to be emancipated. She wants her conservatorship to end. And a lot of Britney Spears fans feel the same way she do. Well, a lot been going on within last 13 years. Since 2008, Britney Spears was on the road of being pop princess, and she had kids. A lot of things, the paparazzi got involved, and Britney Spears couldn't handle the pressure. Britney Spears, we know that infamous time she shaved her head bald. But Britney Spears wants to regain her life and regain her control and know that she's back in her control, her mental faculties. Let's get to the latest with Britney Spears over her conservatorship and what's going on with this.
Story about how Britney Spears fans started a movement to fight for her freedom.
The Free Britney movement. I'm a Sagittarius. I'm very keen on freedom.
For as long as she's been in the spotlight, every part of her life has been under intense media scrutiny, with paparazzi following her every move.
People talk about my private life. I know that, as a celebrity, that's what goes along with what you do. It's none of your business.
For over a decade, Britney Spears has had zero control in her life. And while she's rarely spoken about it publicly, her fans have become increasingly concerned for her well-being.
We all know there's something going on with Britney.
They believe there are signs of distress hidden in her social media posts. So let's rewind. 14 years ago, in 2007, Britney infamously shaves her head, and the paparazzi are there to capture it. Rather than considering the state of her mental health, the media creates a frenzy around her, calling the incident a mental breakdown. Fans speculate that this could be an act of rebellion, or a result of postpartum depression. After all, Britney has given birth to 2 boys in less than 2 years. After the incident, the 27-year-old is committed to a mental health facility against her will. She's classified GD, greatly disabled. Basically, she's deemed unfit to take care of herself. And her father, Jamie Spears, is granted temporary conservatorship. Under this legal arrangement, her father has total control over everything she does, who she sees, where she goes, what she does with the hundreds of millions of dollars she earns every year. But what was supposed to be a temporary conservatorship ends up lasting over a decade. Even if she wanted to contest it, with her father controlling her finances, she legally can't hire a lawyer to defend herself. She can't even seek a medical evaluation to reverse the conservatorship, because her father has sole control over her health care. He even arranges for 24-hour security outside her home. For her fans, it's really starting to sound like she's a prisoner in her own home.
She's so concerned.
Hope you're doing okay. The only time Britney mentions the situation is in a 2008 MTV documentary promoting her circus tour.
If I wasn't under the restraints that I'm under right now, with all the lawyers and doctors and people analyzing me every day.
This might be one of the only times she openly expresses her desire for independence.
I feel so liberated and feel like myself.
In 2009, a Britney Spears fan site starts a campaign called Free Britney to bring attention to the situation and to call for an end to the conservatorship. In the years that follow, she releases several albums, performs a 4-year residency in Las Vegas, becomes a judge on The X Factor, and releases a very lucrative perfume line, making those in control of her life very, very rich. So many of her fans wondered, if she was deemed mentally fit to do all of that, why couldn't she make decisions for herself? The Free Britney movement takes a turn in January 2019 after she abruptly cancels her Las Vegas residency. Her fans become increasingly suspicious, and they believe that maybe her father is behind it all.
Keeping her hostage, and it is no good for anybody.
Shortly after, a mysterious voicemail is released on a podcast from someone claiming to be a paralegal in the case and claiming that Britney has been confined in a mental health facility for months involuntarily. And it all snowballs from there. Twitter threads, TikTok videos, podcasts, Instagram accounts, all dedicated to the Free Britney movement. They begin analyzing everything she posts online, looking for clues.
Instagram, a user commented saying if you need help, post a picture of some flowers. 1 hour after that comment was made, she posted a picture with flowers.
What is she pointing to right there? On her hat? I zoomed in. And that literally says help.
One person in the comments is saying wear yellow in your next video and blink twice if you need help. So she does both in the next video.
Which was once confined to a very small group of loyal fans, blows up. Even celebrities start publicly voicing their concerns.
Free Britney. I am wearing this shirt because we all love her.
While many of these theories are unconfirmed, it is revealed that Britney had asked for her father to be removed as conservator. But the judge in charge of her case denies the request. In response, supporters of the Free Britney movement came to the street, protesting outside the courtroom. Even Britney's ex-husband, Jason Alexander, is there.
The reason I'm here is to show support for Britney for one, and I agree with a lot of the claims made by the movement.
In February 2021, a New York Times documentary sparked renewed interest in the movement as the legal fight over Britney Spears' conservatorship plays out in court.
We are nearing the end of the evil conservatorship.
You saw right there, a little bit heartbreaking to see that Britney Spears, who once was dominant on the pop charts, now trying to find ways to get back her life and get back her road to recovery. I know Britney Spears says that she doesn't feel free. She wants freedom. And we can understand that. We feel for her on that. Well, we have an exclusive clip here where Britney Spears gave the judge a call on why she believes she should be emancipated. And she should think this conservatorship should end with this.
I really believe this conservatorship is abusive. And now we can sit here all day and say, oh, conservatorships are here to help people. But ma'am, there's 1,000 conservatorships that are abusive as well. My requests are just to end the conservatorship without being evaluated. And I would like to progressively move forward. And I want to have the real deal. I want to be able to get married and have a baby. I was told right now in the conservatorship, I'm not able to get married or have a baby. I have a ID and side of myself right now so I don't get pregnant. I wanted to take the ID out so I could start trying to have another baby, but this so-called team won't let me go to the doctor to take it out because they don't want me to have any more children. I deserve to have the same rights as anybody does by having a child, a family, any of those things. I just want my life back, and it's been 13 years, and it's enough.
Britney Spears, like I said, Britney Spears is strong and a fighter. A lot of her songs that she used to sing way back in the day, Britney Spears telling the judge that she wants to be free, she wants to live her life and live her life on her own terms. And we can blame Britney Spears on that and what she's going through and stuff. All right. Another person that's real close to Britney Spears is her boyfriend. Yeah, her boyfriend, I don't know how to say his name, pronounce his name, but I'll say her boyfriend. Her boyfriend wants Britney to be free, and he sent a post and a tweet on Instagram showing that he wants his woman, Britney Spears, to be free. Well, Entertainment Tonight had checked on him on what he thinks what's next for Britney Spears and him in their future. Take a look.
For his girlfriend, Britney Spears.
We're a family.
Ahead of Britney's latest hearing for her ongoing conservatorship battle on Wednesday, Sam took to his Insta story to share this snap, rocking a shirt with the words "Free Britney" painted in pink and purple writing. The shirt is in support of the hashtag Free Britney movement, a hashtag that was created by fans and is used by those who claim that the pop star is being held against her will and is trying to call for help through her social media posts. Sam also added a lion emoji at the top of his post. Fans of the couple know that the fitness expert often refers to his girlfriend as his lioness.
She's a sweetheart, and I think that no matter what, they're gonna know that she's a sweetheart.
The post comes on Wednesday, just hours before the performer is expected to address the Los Angeles court directly. ET confirmed earlier this month that due to COVID-19 protocols, Britney would appear remotely, not in person, for the hearing. This will mark the first time in years that Britney will speak in court about the conservatorship, which she's been in since 2008.
This is very important that she's decided to speak out now, and I think she's doing it because basically she's come to a head and she needs to figure out what she's going to do about this conservatorship. And she thinks this is the best way to get her point across.
Earlier this week, the New York Times reported that they obtained confidential court records that revealed the toxic singer has been quietly pushing for years to end her conservatorship. According to the outlet, Britney expressed, quote, serious opposition to the conservatorship earlier and more often than had previously been known in the court records, and claimed that it restricted everything from whom she dated to the color of her kitchen cabinets. Per the New York Times, a court investigator wrote in a 2016 report, quote, she articulated she feels the conservatorship has become an oppressive and controlling tool against her, adding that Britney informed them that she wanted the conservatorship terminated as soon as possible. Quote, she is sick of being taken advantage of, and she said she is the one working and earning her money, but everyone around her is on her payroll. On Wednesday, ET spoke to the president of Law and Crime Network, Rachel Stockman, who explained why it's...
Yes, Britney Spears' boyfriend wants to have Britney be free and be able to control her own life, her own destiny. There was rumors and reports that Britney Spears wanted to marry her boyfriend and start having a family. You know, that's understandable. That's understandable. But during this conservatorship, Britney can get married, but she has to get her conservator to approve it. So basically, her father has to approve her getting married. And, have kids. But that's going to be a long road, long battle for Britney Spears and to end that conservatorship. But who knows? All right. We have our infamous segment, What the People Say. What the people saying about Britney Spears, about her want this conservatorship to end and live her life on her terms. Let's get the latest on what you people had to say about pop singer Britney Spears wants to end her conservatorship with this.
Recently, Britney Spears' sister Jamie Lynn Spears addressed the rumors that she's not in support of her sister, where Jamie Spears had a lot to say on why she support her sister and don't believe the hype of her not supporting her sister after Britney Spears revealed that her family does not have her back in trying to end her conservatorship with this.
Because I am only her sister who's only concerned about her happiness. I've made a very conscious choice in my life to only participate in her life as her sister, as an aunt to those boys. Maybe I didn't support her the way the public would like me to, with a hashtag on a public platform, but I can assure you that I've supported my sister long before there was a hashtag, and I'll support her long after. Note that. I mean, I've worked since I was 9 years old. That's the day I was born. I've only sister knows I love and support her. And that's the only person I owe anything to. I'm not my family. I am my own person. I'm speaking for myself. I'm so proud of her for using her voice. I'm so proud of her for requesting new counsel, like I told her to do many years ago. Oh, not on a big public platform, but just in a personal conversation between two sisters. So I'm very proud that she's taken that step. If ending the conservatorship, if flying to Mars, or whatever the hell else she wants to do to be happy, I support that 100%, because I support my sister. I love my sister, always have, always will, as long as she's happy. Paid my own freaking bills, able to speak for herself and say what she felt she needed to say publicly, that it wasn't my place and it wasn't the right thing to do. But now that she's very clearly spoken and said what she needed to say, I feel like I can follow her lead and say what I feel I need to say. I think it's extremely clear. Everybody, I just want to take a second to address a few things. The only reason I haven't before is because I felt like until my sister was able to speak for herself and say what she felt she needed to say publicly, that it wasn't my place and it wasn't the right thing to do. But now that she's very clearly spoken and said what she needed.
Vindicated. What do you mean by that?
So basically, I've been saying for years that our Los Angeles County Probate Court is broken. It is dysfunctional. People are being subjected to trauma, exploitation, and abuse. Not just Britney Spears, but many conservatives.
I'm here at the Free Britney rally down by Grant Park. This is grassroots support that really has brought attention to the issue of probate abuse.
The challenge here is that everything that we know about this case is from Britney Spears' point of view is through the reports of other people. The report by the court-appointed lawyer, the report by an investigator. The truth is that we really don't know what Britney Spears has been feeling and experiencing. If she is able to meet with another attorney other than her court-appointed lawyer, I think things will start shaping up really quickly for Britney Spears.
Amazing.
Reader Shauna Lloyd is here with more on all of this. Shauna, good morning to you. Conservatorships are usually assigned for someone who the court deems is unable to take care of themselves and make their own decisions. So how did Britney Spears end up in one to begin with? And how unusual is it for someone her age to be under a conservatorship?
Conservatorships are usually reserved for people who are typically older, they're physically incapacitated. We typically don't see it in someone as young as Britney Spears. In her case, it's highly unusual that she was placed in a conservatorship because that's not the typical population that utilizes these types of things. With Britney Spears, it seems that her mental illness may have triggered the conservatorship in order to preserve her finances and the fortune that she had amassed.
Now, for years, fans have been pointing to Britney's continued ability to work and perform all this time as evidence that she can take care of herself and she doesn't need to be in this conservatorship. But how strong is that as a legal argument? And what are some of the other factors the court will be considering here?
The observations are typically not going to be enough for a legal basis because there's a number of people that can function as it would seem on the surface in living their life, but they don't have the mental capacity to make the types of decisions that she would be required to make when you're talking about handling a fortune and a financial situation as large as she has. So it could be that she just doesn't have the ability or the wherewithal to handle that type of responsibility, although she can function fairly reasonably day to day. Legally, they're going to have to show that she's competent enough to be able to handle those finances. There's going to be a team of medicals, providers that are going to make assessments and evaluations of her in order to make that determination. She will need that in order to make the legal argument to have it terminated.
Now, this was granted as a temporary conservatorship. 13 years later, it's still being enforced. So where is the burden here? Is it harder to prove she doesn't need it anymore, or is it harder to keep it in place? How hard is it to undo this once it's done?
Well, the time frame really just speaks to how long the person takes to become competent again. It's always about competency. At any point in time when you're placed in a conservatorship, the conservatee can actually petition to have it terminated. But they have to show the court that they are no longer suffering from whatever it was that caused the conservatorship to be put in place in the first place. So she would have to show that she's mentally competent to the court, and the court would have to feel secure in that. You're going to typically find that requires a lot of mental evaluations. So the amount of time isn't necessarily indicative of being able to get in or out of it. It really has to deal with her ability to function at the level the court can say she is now competent to handle her own finances and decisions.
Now, the New York Times is now reporting that court documents allege that the conservatorship restricted everything from who Britney dated to the color of her kitchen cabinets. Could the judge decide, for example, to keep the conservatorship but place more limits on what it can control? What are the options?
Absolutely. There can be certain things that are limited and certain things that she is granted access to. So, for instance, things like purity or the color of her cabinets, she can be given the ability to make those decisions over her day-to-day life and still not have the ability to manage her finances. So the court will look at the overall picture and make a determination as to which things she no longer needs a conservatorship for, and they may return those decision-making abilities to Brit.
All right, Shauna Lloyd, so much to unpack here. We appreciate you helping us out, and I know you're going to join our team this afternoon for our coverage of the Britney Spears hearing. So, Shauna, we'll talk to you a little bit later. Thanks again. And you can watch.
If I was her lawyer and she was my client and wanted to remove this, I would have done the exact same thing. I would have had her show up in court or virtually show up in court and speak for herself, because it's only the judge's view of getting rid of this. And if she's standing in front of them and says, listen to me, I'm asking you to get rid of this, ask me questions, talk to me, ask me if I'm ready for this, the judge can't ignore that. And that's pretty good evidence to put in front of the court.
And how did she do? Did she do well? Did she hold up well in court?
Yeah, because we wanted to hear the sound bites, but we don't have access to them here.
Yeah, I actually didn't hear them myself. I did read the transcript. I understand that there were points where she sounded very anxious and was speaking very quickly. However, I've had people in court that get nervous and speak that way all of the time. I mean, honestly, this is probably the biggest thing that's ever happened in her life. She deserves a little bit of a break if she was nervous and speaking too quickly.
And how long is this process set to go? And what's the likelihood she'll eventually get her way? I mean, at age 39, she should be able to be quite self-sufficient, right?
She should be able to. And the process is a little hard to say, because I think what's probably going to happen based on the transcripts that I read is that she's probably going to get a new lawyer. And that lawyer will then evaluate all of the evidence and have a conversation with her about whether or not they think they're going to win the termination petition. So if she does think that they have enough facts on their side to win, then they will file a petition with the court to terminate. And if the other side, meaning her father and Bessemer Trust, disagree and they contest it, then there will be a trial and they will present evidence and determine whether it's time to terminate this or not. So this could be a short process, or it could be really drawn out.
All right. She's been getting support from fans and some of the public as well. Is this something that makes a difference in any way to the judge and to the court?
I think it's hard to ignore what's happening in the public. The judge, of course, can't take that into account in their decision making, but you have to realize as a judge that there will be high scrutiny by these fans, and they're going to do everything by the book. There's going to be no shortcuts. They're going to make sure that they turn over every stone and make sure that if this is really warranted, that it's terminated, that they don't ignore what just happened today.
Why is Britney Spears under one, and especially one that allegedly, according to reports claiming that she does not want it to maintain, why 13 years later is this still in place?
She's not 14 anymore.
Yeah, it sounds bizarre, doesn't it? And you, in fact, have recently apologised for comments you made all those years ago. Tell us about why you went that far.
Well, I'm old now. I'm in my 40s, and I think and I hope that a lot of us, the older we get, the more we have an understanding of life. And I also have children, and I think having kids gives you more empathy. I recently was sitting down doing an interview for a documentary, and I caught myself slipping up, saying something that I used to say back in the day. I was talking about somebody else, and I said, oh, she was a hot mess. And then I stopped and I said, no, we shouldn't talk about people that way, because instead of saying that person's a hot mess, let's try to have some understanding. We can say that person's really going through it, is struggling. And I hope that, the people watching Sunrise today are in agreement with that, because while I think the media has gotten better over the years, and I would like to think I have as well, I'm not sure if the general public has gotten that much better.
Yeah, really good point.
Yeah, it is a good point, and it makes you feel like one day she is going to tell us exactly what she went through, all about the paparazzi. So thanks very much.
Thank you. Good to see you. Nice to have been reached out to. Thanks.
To your understanding, was Ms. Spears ever adjudicated mentally ill, or was she ever found by a court to be non-compos mentis, or, to the uninitiated, not competent mentally to run her own affairs?
The proceedings have been closed and sealed, which raises an important question as to why, but I don't think so. As far as we know, she never was adjudicated as being mentally incompetent. Look, you and I can't decide on this program what, if any, problems Britney has, but what we can decide is there's been a terrible miscarriage of justice. She has really been deprived of her rights, and particularly because she's never had anyone who's advocated for her. She's got a court-appointed lawyer who clearly has not advocated for her. He's supposed to be a zealous advocate for her, and you'll remember at a prior hearing, the judge asked, well, what does Britney Spears think about this conservatorship? And he said, well, Your Honor, she's like a comatose patient who can't even sign a piece of paper to say what she wants. Well, Britney blew that out of the water today.
There's interest you accrue and interest you pursue.
And is that your understanding as well, that she's had her ups and downs, she's had struggles with mental health, but that she is not some vegetable or non-compos mentis, meaning not able to think for herself and do for herself?
Yeah, it's really fascinating because, look, when I met with her a couple of times and we spoke on the phone when she retained me, I thought she was making sound judgments. Clearly there were issues, but she was making some sound judgments. She understood that she had these issues, that a conservatorship, at least on a temporary basis, might come to pass. The one thing that she was clear about was that she did not want her father to be in control of her life. And what we've seen in court documents that have been leaked to the New York Times in the last couple of days, and certainly in her statements today, is this is not somebody who is so non-compos mentis that a conservatorship should be appropriate.
Yeah, look, sometimes with kids, you'll see this, minors, or again, severely mentally disabled and adjudicated as the same, or elderly and past the point of being able to run your own affairs. I can't find an analog that's anything like this Britney Spears situation. She's going to be 40 And, you know, you hear these rumors about, well, she's not all there. That's not the standard. That takes us to the father. What is your understanding about his good faith in this situation?
About Jamie Spears, I think there are real questions about it. I think there are real questions about whether he is simply trying to control his daughter for his own profit. He's profiting enormously, as are everyone who's involved in this, profiting from Brittany. While Brittany, by the way, is not even allowed to see what's being filed in court. It is really unprecedented.
So what is the standard necessary for Britney Spears to undo this legal arrangement?
Right. So she's got to show that she's able to manage her affairs, or that she can resist undue influence. But the key also is, under law, you cannot have a conservatorship except as a last resort. In other words, if there's any less restrictive means of being able to help her, to protect her, a conservatorship can't stand. And the judge has an independent duty to review that and to terminate it. And certainly her lawyer, when she says to her lawyer, I want this thing over, he can give her advice, but it's go time. You go and you seek to terminate the conservatorship. And in 13 years, he's never done that.
So why didn't you do it? And why aren't you still with Britney Spears?
I didn't do it because when I showed up in court after Brittany retained me, the judge refused to allow me to represent her. Under California law, the law says if the conservatee or the proposed conservatee is unable to retain counsel, the court can appoint counsel for her. It's really unclear what that means, unable. Is she unable to articulate who she wants to be her counsel?
But didn't you say I've been retained? Here's the proof of that.
I said, here I've been retained, but the judge said to me, Mr. Streisand, I have a medical report from Dr. James Edward Spahr that says that she is mentally incapable of retaining you. I'm not going to show you that report, but I'm telling you that she's mentally incapable based on the evidence I have.
But she was not adjudicated as such. There is no court finding. This was just the judge relying on a single opinion about her.
Exactly. Now, look, could I have tried to obtain another opinion that contradicted Dr. Spahr? By the way, Dr. Spahr is one of the leading geriatric psychiatrists and the head of the Neuropsychiatric Institute at UCLA, very highly regarded, right? I assume that I got another opinion. Well, which opinion do you think the judge was going to believe? I didn't want to make it about me.
A chance to hear from the pop princess herself. She stayed largely silent throughout this 13-year conservatorship about how she feels about losing control of her life and her finances. But keep in mind, this hearing was requested by her lawyer a year ago when they petitioned the judge to have her father removed from her conservatorship. Now, it's unclear what specific issues she'll bring up today or whether or not she'll ask for an end to be put to this conservatorship altogether. You mentioned that new reporting from the New York Times that says Britney's been working behind the scenes for years to get out of this controlled situation that she's in. So here we are. Now, none of this means, though, that we'll actually get to see Britney today. This is going to be a virtual appearance by her in front of a judge. The judge is not allowing us to see video of Britney's appearance. We'll only be able to listen in. And they're not allowing any of the proceedings to be recorded. So we'll be standing by to let you know what happens. As for the Free Britney movement, those very loyal fans of hers that you've seen so often come out in force to support her, we haven't seen any sign of them yet, but we're still about 4 hours away from this court hearing getting started, and you can bet that the scene here will pick up in the coming hours.
A lot of support, overwhelming support for Britney Spears. Britney Spears has been a pop music figure for the last almost 30 years. Britney Spears is going to be almost 40. Britney Spears wants to live her life the way she's been living it for the past 13 years. We know it's a long journey and a long road to ahead of her. And hopefully this all will resolve and Britney could live her life the way she want to live it and make her own decisions, because it's a lot at stake. Like her life, her career. She refused not to perform. So, that means her fortune. That fortune that she's been worked so hard to get. So Britney Spears trying to, balance all that and live her life the way she can. Well, Thank you all for watching this edition of Viral as we talk about Britney Spears, the Free Britney movement. As Britney Spears wants to end her conservatorship and get back to what she was doing, performing and living her life. I've been your host, Kendrick Dix, saying so long, and we'll see you next time for another edition of Viral. Hello, everyone. This is Kendrick Dix for your Viral Preview. The Viral Preview this week. Yes, Britney Spears, the pop singer. Yes, I want to say Britney Spears wants to break the ice. She breaks her silence on wanting to end her conservatorship. Everything is at stake with Britney Spears. Britney Spears' career, her life, her fortune, a lot at stake. And even there was more details in the documents that Britney Spears had to, she couldn't get, they say she has to pick her boyfriend. The cabinets, the colors of the cabinets that Britney Spears can't choose. Britney Spears feels like she's in prison with the conservatorship and she wants to be free. Well, you know what I'm saying? This is Viral, and we hope we get the latest on inside, in-depth, and exclusive clip that Britney Spears told the judge herself on why she wanted to be free.
I really believe this conservatorship is abusive. And now we can sit here all day and say, oh, conservatorships are here to help people. But ma'am, there's 1,000 conservatorships that are abusive as well. My requests are just to end the conservatorship without being evaluated. And I would like to progressively move forward. And I want to have the real deal. I want to be able to get married and have a baby.
All right, you heard a little snippet of Britney Spears on why she wanted to be free and not be in that conservatorship that she's in. Britney Spears, a household name, a household figure in music, and Britney Spears wants her life back in her destiny. Can Britney Spears overcome her conservatorship and live her life by her terms? All we can know is only time will tell. But watch this edition of Viral. Britney Spears, the Free Britney movement. Britney Spears wants to end her conservatorship. Watch it this Sunday here on Viral. Check your local list.